Hey, Rebels. Are your walls boring? Well, listen up, because today's episode is being brought to you by The Gallery. It's based out of New York, and The Gallery is a curated collection of photographs from around the world. You know, we're all unable to travel right now, so this is a great way to bring a piece of the world to you. And all prints are made from 100% recycled aluminum, giving your wall that gallery finish. And right now, The Gallery is offering our listeners, that's you guys, Rebels of the Sherpalution, 15% off their purchase by using the code 15OFF. Go to thegallery.com. That's TheGallery.com, and your walls will never be boring again. Let's head back to the show.
Hey Dudley, have you met today's guest? Not only does he act, rap, and do impressions, he also hunts ghosts.
Do you think I can hire one of those ghosts to get my mother-in-law to move out?
Attention, Rebels of the Sherpalution. Today's podcast is being brought to you by Audible. You can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/Sherpa. There are over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. And now Mr. Bruce will lead you into the Sherpa Chalet. As a reminder, please don't disturb the yak.
Coming to you from Sherpa Chalet in beautiful downtown Mount Podcastia, it's time for entertainment interviews in the Sherpa Screening Room. Grab an aisle seat and a bucket of popcorn, but don't crunch too loud or you'll miss the show. Now, here's your host, Jim, the podcast Sherpa.
Hello there, Rebels of the Sherpalution, and welcome to the Sherpa Screening Room. It's Faces to Watch Week. It's back, yes. You know, sometimes when you're watching a movie or a TV show, and there's sometimes a certain actor or an actress that just has this kind of quality about them, and you say, you know, I wonder if they're doing anything else. That's where I get the chance to interview those folks, if we can get them on the show. And many of them gladly come on. I appreciate that. And they get to talk about their work and some of the things that they're working on right now. And my guest today, Jean-Pierre Giagnoli, he wears a lot of hats. You're going to find out all about him in our interview, and you'll see exactly what I mean. I don't know how to describe him, but whatever he does really well. And in our interview, he even said, I want to do it all. And I believe that this guy can. He's definitely got the chops for it. So just to find out what I mean, let's take a listen to my interview with Jean-Pierre. Hey, Rebels. We've got an interesting interview here today. You know, I think when I do my introduction to my guest, the interview may be half over because there's a lot to talk about. His name is Jean-Pierre Giagnoli. Did I say that right?
Yep, correct. Good job.
And you would think with my last name, it would be easy, right?
Right.
He is, okay, let's go down the list here. He is an actor, he is a rapper, a comedian, an impressionist who does over 100 impressions, a DJ, and a paranormal investigator. So welcome to the Sherpa Chalet, Jean-Pierre.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So where do we start? There's just so much here. You know, why don't we talk a little bit about your life first, leading up to all these wonderful fields that you've ventured out into?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it really started when I was really little. I just gravitated towards humor and music a lot. I loved it. So I imitated a lot of the people I saw. You know, when I was little, I used to imitate Michael Jackson and do all his dance moves and that kind of stuff. You know, the Marx Brothers, I'd imitate Groucho Marx, a lot of the original and, you know, older SNL cast. I was able to stay up late with my family and watch like Johnny Carson, Saturday Night Live. And I learned a lot, I think, of my humor and skills of comedy through watching a lot of the older people do it. So that's kind of, I think, where it started very young, actually. And I was very shy and introverted when I was very little because I was bullied and picked on a lot. And then one of the biggest things, which I think really drove me to my creative side, is actually was pretty severely abused by my family growing up. And I think my creative outlet really protected me and let me escape a lot of what I was going through within my household. So having the outlets of music and comedy and all of that helped me kind of cope with everything that had happened. So that's kind of a quick overview of where it kind of started and how it built to where I'm at now.
Now, even though you grew up loving all that stuff that you saw on TV and just picking up on the voices and stuff was there anything in particular that maybe made you decide, I want to get on stage and do this, not just like be funny around my friends? Because there's always that big leap, right?
Yeah, there definitely is. Really, I think watching it inspired me and doing it, like you said, with your friends, with your family, you kind of practice and you try things out and people laugh and they say you're funny and you're good. And I think just testing it out that way with your inner circle makes you want to expand. You're like, well, if everybody says I'm funny or I'm good at these impressions or my jokes or my humor, whatever, you kind of want to expand more. So obviously, it's hard to get into comedy clubs when you're very young. But as soon as I went to college, I actually chose my community college based on the fact they offered a stand-up comedy class. And I always wanted to do stand-up comedy because all the greats, all my favorite comedians did stand-up comedy. And I was like, well, I want to do it one day too. So literally, as soon as I turned 18, I was hitting the comedy clubs and getting myself out there. So it helped that I joined choir in junior high, and that's where I got my first stepping on a stage and performing a little bit. Still kind of shy, so luckily there was a group of people I was singing with, so the attention wasn't all on me. But eventually, that I always felt good being on a stage, performing, and comfortable. And once I got to high school, I was still performing, got into drama and acting, and just kind of expanded from there. So. Yeah, that's really where it started.
Tell me about the attraction to rap music.
So I was born in Long Beach, California. I live in Los Angeles, California currently. And just growing up in that area, we definitely didn't grow up in the best neighborhood. There was a lot of gangs, a lot of violence, a lot of drugs, a lot of things like that. And I grew up around rap and hip hop. Obviously, Snoop Dogg is one of our most famous rappers that came out of Long Beach. So growing up in that area, I just heard it and was influenced by it, and hearing it based on living there, I think I connected more because what they rapped about is what I saw in my neighborhood and on the street. So I totally got what rappers were talking about, where I think some people like to be an outsider and connect it's fun to kind of peer into that lifestyle. To me, they were talking about what I knew about. So I think that's why I really gravitated towards rap and hip hop. I felt what they were talking about when they talk about the street life, because that's literally the images I saw every day in my neighborhood. So that's where it started, just seeing it as a young kid growing up. Junior high, again, was really a pivotal point for me where I started actually practicing all my craft. And I started writing raps and stuff. And it was difficult because I grew up in the West Coast. Gangster rap was really popular. And I wrote like that, but I wasn't a gangster, even though I had friends who did that kind of stuff, whatever. I just always felt kind of shy about rapping what I wrote because, like I said, I wasn't living that lifestyle and I don't like to be dishonest. So I was kind of quiet until college. I met a friend and he introduced me to underground hip hop from the East Coast. And it was Immortal Technique, very socially conscious rap artist, politically motivated. And his music had a real strong message. And that clicked. That's the moment I realized it's something I wanted to do. I was like, wait, you can have rap with a message in it and say something impactful and powerful and, get people to think. And that's when I really started going deep into writing and creating music and all that. And that's when the rap took off for me.
Were you doing your own DJing when you were making rap recordings? Was that how it worked? Or you just kind of worked the clubs separately?
Yeah, I kind of worked the clubs separately. I worked at my college radio station, so that's where I really got my DJ skills in. And having access to that studio, which I didn't have at home, was nice. So I could go into the radio station, and we had separate studios to record stuff. And that's where I started getting a taste of using other people's beats and stuff because I didn't really have the equipment to do all my stuff. So I got my feet wet at the recording studios at the radio station at my college. And then eventually taking classes, learning the Pro Tools and the equipment I needed, I built up a home studio and really started developing stuff there. The DJ stuff came with the radio station, but I didn't really actually start professionally DJing till I want to say maybe 2016 is when I really started going hard. And I got hired for lots of weddings and events. And I earned a huge reputation for, being good, especially at weddings, working with the couples and creating a certain atmosphere because I MC and host. So I don't just play music, which a lot of DJs do now. I come in and I'm the whole show. So I play the music, I do the hosting, the MCing, the name announcements, all that stuff. And a lot of people really enjoy that. because they don't have to pay separate fees for like a MC, host, DJ, and I do all of that. So yeah, that's where it all kind of came into play and where it started.
When I was looking at your website, mcpierre.com, reading the email that you sent me about all the things that you do, I was curious, did you ever do your character impressions in your raps?
That's a great question, actually. And funny enough, I was talking with somebody the other day how because I do so many different things, they cross over into each other. So I worked at Disneyland for 10 years in different departments, and it wasn't the best experience working for that company, just to be honest. And I did a whole rap album about Disney just for fun. I put it out for free. It's on the website. You can listen to it. One of the tracks, I rap like Mickey Mouse over a Dr. Dre beat. And that ended up being it's funny because I wrote it with a serious mindset because I was really trying to, it was another form of abuse to work for that company because it's like you're not cultivated and grown in the way you want a lot of the time. They kind of want to mold you the way they want. So I didn't have the best time. So I channeled that anger into humor and creativity and created that song called the Maki Freestyle. So instead of Mickey Mouse, I called it Maki Mouse. And I rap on it. And then I translated that song to a closer for my stand-up comedy because I had a whole Disney routine. And I would shut down like the improv and the comedy clubs out here in Orange County and LA, just rapping like Mickey Mouse because nobody really expected it. It's like, if I could personify Disney in any way, it'd be like rapping like Mickey Mouse over a gangster beat. And I'm like, you know what? Let me show you what that's like. DJ spin that. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm about to rip this. Huh, let's go. And I start rapping in that voice. And yeah, it slayed at the clubs. And I was like, it's funny how that, to me, even though I did make it humorous, it was very serious when I wrote it and put it together. But it ended up being one of the funniest bits I have in my comedy routines. So
let me throw something at you. And this just kind of came off the top of my head. You goofy?
I kind of do, but I don't have it down pat. So I actually recently did a friend's podcast he's creating this podcast with a group called the Aquabat. So I kind of did like my own goofy version. Well, yeah, I kind of do it. Gosh.
Oh, I was you goofy doing a Snoop Dogg rap.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. We could probably do that. That'd probably turn out well. Just smoke a little, gosh.
Still one of your favorite impressions at me, apart from Mickey Mouse. That was very good, though.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. One of my favorites to do, I don't know why, it's a lot of fun when I do. Christopher Walken, he's a great guy, You sit here, you talk on a screen, you see yourself moving, it's crazy. That's one of my favorites. I have a lot of fun with that one.
All right. Okay, Mr. Walken, I was wondering, could you explain the pandemic going on around here?
So there's like a virus. It's going around. It's getting in people. Saying it's droplets when you sneeze or you cough, and boom, all of a sudden you die. It's crazy.
Now everything is so much clearer for me. I appreciate it.
Right, there you go.
You are now in Ford versus Ferrari.
That's correct. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. How you ended up with the part.
Yeah. So it's kind of really weird. So I wasn't doing a lot of acting for about 5 years. I was focusing a little more on my music, comedy as well. And I was making rounds at the clubs and also producing a lot of music, creating a lot of content online. And funny enough, the moment I decided I was quitting my day job, which was at Disneyland, 2 days later, I get a call and they're like, hey, we found you in LA casting. You look very Italian. You have an Italian name. We want you for this period piece. And I was like, okay, sounds great. And they kept calling me back. And they're like, do you know about cars? And I was like, yeah, I do work on my own car. I've done some major work. Do you speak Italian? I speak fluent Italian. Great. So they just kept calling me and asking me more questions. So I went in for my fitting. They gave us cool. The movie's based on the 1960s. So we went in for our fittings. We had old school Ferrari jumpsuits. They really tried to make it period accurate. So it was a cool experience. I had to shave because I usually have facial hair. We had to look like we're in the 1960s. So, I shaved clean. They gave me a haircut, all that kind of stuff. And I got my SAG vouchers off of it just the first few days of filming. I ended up shooting for 2 months on that. But so we went in and we were kind of like featured extras. And then I ended up getting bumped up, and I did a scene with John Bernthal the first day of shooting. He was going through the Ferrari factory in Italy. I was building one of the engines. I was the last guy on the assembly line finishing up the engine. John Bernthal comes up and, says bellissimo in Italian, and, we had a little interaction. So that was really awesome. It was a great feeling. Since not doing acting for a little bit, I came in and I got to do a scene with John Bernthal, who was an amazingly nice actor and just person in general, great actor and just great person. I got directed by James Mangold, the director himself. So it was funny to go from not doing acting for a while to this huge movie. We all felt it when we were on set. It had like an energy on that set. You just felt like this was going to be something big. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it was a really cool feeling we had on set. So I shot for about 2 weeks. We did the factory stuff. And then there was about a 2-week break and they called me back and like, hey, you want to do another month and a half of shooting? We're going to have you be, the Ferrari pit crew for the race, for the Le Mans race. And I was like, yeah, sounds great. So it was great for me because I just quit my job, didn't have work for 2 weeks. And all of a sudden I get a month and a half of work on a movie. So it was really exciting. Went in on set again, James Mangold, all the assistant directors, all the PAs, crew, like everybody knew who I was because I had done some big scenes. So it was great. I was getting called upon all the time. There was only 5 of us on set that actually spoke Italian. So we literally were nicknamed the Ferrari boys, and they would call on us whenever, Ferrari stuff had to be done. It's like, we need my Ferrari boys. All right, we're going to fill up the cars, when they come into pit stop or whatever. I even did some other stuff with Matt Damon and Christian Bale as well. So it was a really great experience for me, and it gave me a lot of confidence as an actor because I got asked to do a lot on that set. And it was just amazing, And then to have everyone after the movie came out hit me up and say, "Is this you? Hey, man, I saw you in the movie." Like people who didn't even know I was in it, they still recognized me, even clean shaven and done up the way I was in the movie. It was a really great experience for me. I got all my SAG vouchers off of it. It definitely boosted my resume as far as acting goes, and I got a lot more work after that too. Kind of a quick breakdown of what that experience was like. 2 months on Ford versus Ferrari. It was a great time.
That kind of movie is very unique because there's only so many racing. It's probably easy to call attention to something like that, especially when you've got a good story and you've got a good cast behind it. People are going to be interested in things like that. And, racing, there's going to be action. Being in that movie, when you were doing that, anything that you felt made you like a more confident actor?
Not necessarily. I've always been and been described as by lots of people, from acting coaches to different people I've worked with, as a character actor. So whatever role I'm put in, I kind of just become that role as a person. Like I'm in it, I'm doing that thing. So I'm very professional when I'm on set, and I know how to take direction well and do what needs to be done. So I think it was just that, and I think that confidence as an actor that I have in my character was noticed, and that's why they called upon me so much. Like it was weird to have everyone know my name, be like, Jean-Pierre, okay, we want you to do this, and like it just felt like they knew they could depend on me and I could do what they needed me to do. And so I don't know if I necessarily learned any concepts. I think if anybody stood out more to me, being in close proximity to, was Christian Bale. Like John Bernthal and Matt Damon on set are very funny. They keep the mood light. They just make the energy real good. And Christian Bale is very serious. He's there to do his role. He's in that character, and you don't see a lot of, I think, his personality really. You see whatever he's doing. But I mean, he's a phenomenal actor, so I can't discredit him for that. But watching him definitely made me think about acting a little more, and how maybe to get deeper into roles, kind of how to switch your mindset when you're doing something to get deeper into it. Because seeing him definitely stood out to me.
I guess really with all the stuff that you do, I'm imagining discipline is such an important part of what you do. It seems if you're acting or you're being an impressionist or a rapper, you're putting your whole heart into it. You definitely got that drive.
No, yeah, that's a really good way to describe it. It's really true. I really do put myself into everything I do. I actually research the history of it, whether it's rap, comedy, acting, whatever. Like I really delve into the things that I'm passionate about. Like I don't just like, I like to do this and that's it. I actually like to, I'm a big history buff. So I actually go way back in history, find out the early, beginnings of acting or comedy or rap, and kind of learn the foundations of it. Because I think it gives you a lot more ground to walk on when you understand where it started, where it's at and where it may go in the future. Because that's really important in any industry, is to figure out, what it is and where it's going to go.
That's really refreshing to hear, Jean-Pierre, because I think that's what happens with a lot of people. They don't understand where it's been, and you really have to understand where it's been to know where it's going to go.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
To the past, you want to go right on the proper trajectory.
Definitely. Very true.
Now, you also have a PhD in paranormal psychology?
Parapsychology, yeah.
So what fascinated you with that?
I got to start at the beginning. I was about 2 years old. I stayed at my grandmother's house, which I had done often, so that it wasn't anything peculiar. I was woken up at the early morning hours, and my grandfather passed away when I was 3 months old. He appeared to me, and I was sleeping in his former room where he passed away in. As a small child, it obviously scared me. I freaked out. I was crying, but at the same time, I was curious. So I watched him, like his spirit or whatever I saw, disappear through the dining room wall of my grandma's house. And I ran to my grandma's room, told her what happened. And then, she tried to downplay it. And so did my mom. They were like, oh, it was just, your imagination. You had a bad dream, whatever. And I started seeing stuff after that. But, I stayed quiet because I figured if my family doesn't believe me, who else is going to believe me? So I kind of just became more of an introvert talking about that kind of stuff. And then maybe, I want to say 8 years later, they actually sat me down and said, look, we've all experienced this kind of stuff. We were very young. We didn't want to scare you, but, we've seen this kind of stuff too. So at that point, it really opened me up to, well, okay, I did really experience this. Other people have experienced this. So I just got really curious. So I started buying books on ghosts and the paranormal and that kind of stuff. The funniest story I tell everyone about this is I actually, my mom went to see the movie Ghostbusters when she was like pregnant with me, like ready to pop. Like I think I was born like a few days later or a week later or something. So my joke is from the womb, I already wanted to be a Ghostbuster and loved Ray Parker Jr.'s, song in the movie. I was probably dancing in the womb to it. And that is one of my favorite movies of all time. I have a tattoo. I'm wearing a Ghostbuster shirt right now. I've seen Peter Venkman talk about, I have my, PhD in psychology and parapsychology. And out of that line he said in the movie always stuck with me. And I said, one day I want to get that degree if it exists. And, obviously I was young, so there wasn't a lot of opportunity for me to study that until I got out of high school to go to college. Originally, USC actually offered a program in parapsychology, but by the time I graduated, it just, I guess, didn't have any funding, so they didn't offer it anymore. I found a school on the East Coast called Progressive Universal Life Church, and they offered a program in parapsychology. So I studied, my undergraduate studies here was a lot more in psychology. So I studied a lot of psychology before I got to the metaphysics stuff and parapsychology, which is dealing more with extrasensory perception, things you can't necessarily perceive, and how the human mind is misunderstood, and it works in a lot of weird ways for different people too. And yeah, then in 2009, I finally earned my PhD in parapsychology. So it's definitely a proud moment for me. I actually even lectured at Chapman University out here in California for about 6 years in the sociology department on the paranormal. Yeah, I've done quite a bit with that. I run a nonprofit and we investigate ghosts, UFOs, all kinds of crazy stuff. Ghostbusters was the start of it, I think.
What was the most interesting thing that you've had to investigate so far?
Now, it may sound a little strange, but we were called in on a few different cases where the clients told us that it was ghosts. And we just assumed based on what they told us, it wouldn't be anything else. Okay, we'll go look at this. But when we got there, it's not that the stories changed, but it became clear that what they were dealing with was not ghosts. Like whatever was happening got into their like security deposit boxes and private information that only they would have access to. So we ended up encountering things that seemed more like mind control or like government experiments. And it was really strange because we just weren't used to that. And the way the clients presented the information, we were like, oh, okay, it's just a haunting. And all of a sudden it turned into, well, why is this happening to these people? And it's definitely not ghosts. A ghost wouldn't need your social security number. Like, it doesn't make sense. So those have been the strangest. But luckily, because we have such an open mind with things that are unknown and are paranormal, that we were open enough to talk to these clients and ask the pertinent questions that got us an understanding that they had family in the military that dealt with secret high-level projects. And like, there were things that started to connect the dots that made sense why this would happen to them. So those were, I think, the strangest, just because it was out of our norm, but we still approached it, professionally and tried to help these people. So
I'm piecing all of this together, and I'm guessing there's very little that scares you in this world, isn't there?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm pretty fearless. And I think I had to be. Again, I would kind of have to go back to more the negative side of my history, which is that I was severely abused by my grandmother growing up. And like, because of that, I think that's what made me so focused and be on top of everything so much. Because if I didn't, there was punishment if I wasn't on top of everything the way I should be. And there's some positive from that because I'm able to accomplish things in my life because I have that focus and that I have to get things done. But yeah, definitely there's really not a lot that scares me. And now especially, it was just the end of last year I came to terms with this abuse and cut my abusers off. I think now I'm actually fearless. Before it seemed like it, And I think I had like a survivor's level of facade of fearlessness. But the way I'm living life now, I think really displays what fearless is. And that's really going after what you want, regardless of what the world tells you, what people tell you, and any of the doubts or naysayers. Like that's, to me now, the new definition of fearless and how I'm living life.
And you're also producing a web series on YouTube?
Yeah, we actually, we're not producing it anymore. I need to update the site a little bit on that one section. But I was producing a web series for 2 years. We did our own paranormal. We were tired. So when it comes to the paranormal stuff, we've been approached by major companies to do TV shows multiple times. We've turned stuff down and we've had stuff randomly disappear because unfortunately, reality TV, spoiler alert, is not reality. A lot of it is made up. A lot of it is created. They even script stuff. This is stuff and big companies have meetings with us about. To me, I'm very passionate about the paranormal. I don't take it as a joke, even though I may love Ghostbusters. You know, these deals we got, or potential deals we got from major companies, we turned down. So finally, when I was fed up with the industry and what they were trying to make us turn into, I said, you know what, let's do our own web series. That way we don't have to worry about being controlled. We don't have to fake stuff. We can just be who we want to be and present things the way we want to present it. So yeah, for 2 years, we shot a web series. We brought regular people on the investigations with us to prove we're legitimate. So it's not just us going out there filming ourselves, but you, the viewer, can join us and be part of our investigation and see how we go out and look for stuff. So yeah, we have a lot of content on YouTube. Like I said, we did about 2 years of our web series, and we're still getting subscribers to this day. So it's kind of cool that we still have plenty of content for people to go look at.
Was there anything in particular that really kind of scared you in your investigations?
I mean, it's rare that I've had stuff happen to me, and I've been told by strong spiritual people that I have some sort of authority and stuff doesn't really like to mess with me. And this is, again, what other people have said to me. But I did have a case in Bellflower, California, which is not too far from where I'm at. This case was strange. We were told it was ghost stuff, and it ended up being like government conspiracies or anything. It ended up being that the owner's sister was into like witchcraft or something and was messing with stuff. So we're investigating this house, and the sister shows up very late from work, and we don't see her. She kind of just goes through the house, and we're like, "What? Like, who was that?" And you know, she didn't say anything to us. She didn't talk. And as we're breaking down that evening from our investigation, about maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, I'm taking on the camera off the stairwell in the house, and I start bracing like something big is coming to attack me. I don't know. I just felt something, and I felt very uncomfortable and uneasy. And it's this little petite girl coming down the stairs. And immediately I'm like, something's wrong. I think she's the source of this because she gives off this weird energy. So we're breaking down equipment. You know, we kind of brush it off, keep moving. And we had a lot of stuff happen that night. I'm going to give you the brief version of it just so you hear what happened to me. Okay. I'm moving around, and this girl, the sister, won't take her eyes off me. I go behind walls to grab equipment. I'm moving around the house to finish up, and her gaze is just on me the entire time. Finally, one of my equipment bags is near her on the couch, and I had to go put like I think it was a camera or something away. And I caught eyes with her for I'm probably exaggerating. It was probably only a few seconds, but maybe 5-10 seconds. And all of a sudden, my chest got super tight and my eyes started to water and I couldn't breathe. That was the first time I actually ran out of the house. I had to because I felt unsafe. I felt uneasy. I didn't know what was happening to me. When I got out of the house, I finally could breathe again. And my wife, who's also on my paranormal team, runs out after me. She's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I'm like, "I can't go back in there. I don't know why, but I need to stay out, just finish the equipment, and we'll call it a night." And we woke up the next morning, and I had a circular burn mark on my chest, and I had never experienced anything like that. And that was, very crazy and intense for me because it's rare that I have anything happen, especially physically to me. That's one of the more intense ones.
If that were me, that would have been my first and last experience doing paranormal work. Where do you want to go in the future? Do you want to do more paranormal stuff? Do you want to do more acting? Do you want to do more rapping? We can go on with this.
No, definitely. Well, for me, I have a lot, and I am all those things. I encompass all those things. They're my passions. I don't want to limit myself. I want to do it all, to be honest. I can't lie. I want to do it. I love doing it all. I feel, and I've told this to my wife, I've told this to lots of people, I feel alive when I'm performing. It doesn't matter if it's on TV or on a stage or in front of a camera or whether it's acting or music or rapping, whatever it is, even paranormal investigating, there's a thrill to it and excitement. There's a peace to it as well, because a lot of the time nothing happens. So you're sitting in a dark place, very quiet, and it's kind of meditation on some level. But yeah, I'm passionate. I want to do it all, and I plan to kind of interweave everything. I'm actually working on a full rap album about the paranormal and my experiences, my thoughts, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things I'd like to intertwine with my rap is my paranormal. So I want to actually do a tour. I'm going to dub a ghost tour and perform at haunted venues and clubs and theaters, and then have like a VIP experience where me and my fans can investigate the club or the theater or the nightclub after the performance. That way I kind of give that full-on experience. So that's a project that I'm really working on right now and I want to do in the future for sure.
As far as your acting career, is there a dream role that you would have loved to have had, maybe in a past movie or even a present movie?
To be honest, not really. I love so with stage acting, it's a little different than camera. So let me make a little distinction between the two. The stage is there's a lot more movement, there's a lot more energy that you put out because you have to get the whole theater to notice what you're doing. In front of the camera, it's a little calmer, a little more reserved. You have to pull yourself back a little bit so the camera catches the subtlety. You don't have to over-exaggerate. So both are fantastic, but acting-wise for camera, I don't think there's any rules, because I'm such a Ghostbusters fan, to be honest. If I could get a cameo or a part in a future Ghostbusters movie, that would be a dream come true for me because I'm such a passionate person about that particular brand and topic. So that would be a dream come true in the future, but really, my dream is kind of simple. I just want to do what I love for the rest of my life. I want to wake up, and when I wake up and I have to go to work, whether it's in a music studio or on a set or on a stage, whatever it is, I just want to feel like it's not work. And after 10 years of working for a company that I didn't get to express myself and do that, I'm just not giving up my dreams and I'm working really hard. And I've accomplished a lot in the last 2 years. I didn't think I'd be where I'm at right now 2 years ago. So it's pretty incredible looking at myself in the mirror and seeing what I've accomplished, leaving the abuse as well as pursuing my dreams when it was just me really backing myself up with what I believed I wanted to do. So yeah, if I can live my dreams and make that a career, that would be the best life I could ask for. Just do what I love and hopefully not just make myself happy, but also, inspire others and make other people happy and feel emotions through what I do.
All right, I'm going to throw another challenge away. You're doing great with these challenges, by the way.
Thanks.
Could you do, and this is your choice, one of your favorite characters or cartoon characters talking about Ghostbusters?
Let's see. Let me think of something. Which one do I want to do? Okay. I think I got a good one. Since they're in New York. All right. We're going to do something very fantastic right now. It's tremendous. I love Ghostbusters. One of my favorite movies. It's in my city, the greatest city ever. It's great. It's fantastic. Okay. It's down the street from McDonald's. I love McDonald's. Has my name in it. It's great. It's fantastic. We love it. I think if they do the new Ghostbusters, it's going to be huge. So yeah, I thought that was a good one to throw in there. That's what I've been doing a lot lately.
Perfect. Do you want to tell everybody about your website too?
Yeah, definitely. If you want to check me out, you can check out www.mcpierre.com. And that is the letter M, the letter C, PIERRE. And I have all my info on there. You can find my paranormal stuff. You can find my stand-up comedy. You can find my music and links to all my other stuff and social media. So that's my main website I use everything for. So I definitely keep it up to date and keep you guys posted on what's going on there. That's the top one.
His name is Jean-Pierre Giagnoli. Thank you so much for being on the show. You were a fantastic guest. There's your feedback. I'm giving it to you live on the show.
Yeah, definitely.
And best of luck to whichever field you go down.
Yeah, I'm going to be in all of them.
Hey, I'll keep my eyes open for you, sir.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me, and have a great day.
So Jean-Pierre is our first face to watch, and I'd like to thank him so much for coming on down and hanging out and giving us an interview. I think he's going to be doing a lot of big things in the future. Keep an eye open for him. Sherpalution is the word that you need to know if you want to keep an eye on me, because it's Sherpalution.com is my website where you can hear all the episodes from season 1 through now in season 4, or even on your favorite podcast app. Or you can follow me at Sherpalution on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. That's simple. One word, Sherpalution. Who knew? Mr. Bruce, I'll bet you've got some really good impressions. Why don't you do an impression of an Australian voiceover guy? I'll bet that's going to be a challenge for you. Let's see. Viva la Sherpalution, everybody. See you guys tomorrow. Bye, Rebels.
Thanks for listening to the Sherpa Screening Room. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. I'm Mr. Bruce, and this has been a Sherpa Studios production. Viva la Sherpalution!